excited, especially yesterday, because I know I will have a lot of people congratulating me today, and I wanted to hear what they're saying. I wanted to take every word seriously, so I had to be mentally ready, well rested, so I can, absorb the words, believe the words, and go into my new year with the words. So I'm very satisfied. My team, they exercise a lot of creativity. Been to 2 churches today, and everybody tried to celebrate me in a special way. So I like that. I love that. So I'm good.
Wow.
My day has been great.
Wow. Amazing. Guys, that's so beautiful. Thank you very much for that answer. I wasn't actually expecting that answer in such details, but you know what? You never cease to surprise me or any of us. The fact that you've been expecting it for 3 months, this day was coming. I think a lot of us would stand and say, hey, it was a good day, I had a really good time and people were great, but very, very detailed. You planned for 3 months. Wow.
Yes, very impressive.
Wow.
Quite unusual.
Unusual. Unusually brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for that. So guys, I hope more people have joined, and we're already on YouTube as well. So if you're on YouTube, please let me know so we can get started immediately. Okay, with the questions.
Yes, so I think we can get started with the questions, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so the first question is a little bit more general, but everything is about you today. Okay. So this question as well, of course. I guess for people, especially who don't know you, they probably are very interested in knowing how you would describe yourself. If someone was to ask, who is Pastor Bose, what would you say?
Well, I'm thinking about, okay, I will just take the present, who I have now. I would call myself a leader, a woman leader, an achiever, but a quiet achiever. I would call myself somebody that knows what she's doing, independent person. And I think it won't be an over-exaggeration to call myself just a good person.
Okay. Wow. Amazing.
That's interesting.
Yes.
I really find a quiet achiever very, very interesting. Because, achievements usually, they speak for itself and they're not quiet. But knowing you actually, to some extent, I think that's a very accurate word to use, a quiet achiever. Interesting. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. And I really like the confidence that you have in saying those things, because usually people would not necessarily say it so freely and in a very convincing way. And also just looking at you, you believe it and you are standing fully behind it. It's not you just saying it because you can just answer it in any way. So that's admirable.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you for that question. Okay, so the question I have here is, how would someone get your special attention? I think we asked that question because, like you said, you're a quiet person and a quiet achiever, as you put it yourself. So, and you give everybody their space as well. So a lot of people around you, I think they try to mirror that. You also give us our independence, generally everyone around you. So we just want to know, how would someone get your special attention?
I think that is possible if the person is able to do something unique and something creative. I'm a big believer in creativity. I believe they make life beautiful, excellent, they transform life. So if somebody can come up with something not ordinary, not necessarily extraordinary, but if somebody can do something just a little bit above average, I think that would catch my attention.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially for you being amongst people all the time, and being also one of the pastors of such a big church, and then having celebrated your birthday a few times now. I guess it's understandable for you to be able to distinguish or wanting to distinguish in that area too. Interesting.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh,
I think we're ready for the third question.
Okay. Okay. So if you were not a pastor, what would you be today?
I think if I'm not a pastor, I will probably work in a corporate company or be having my own business.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two options.
And then what type of business would that probably be?
I think it will depend on the need. It will depend on where I am and the need, the demand of the place. I will be. Tell me what I will be.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Wow. Corporate environment
Yes.
and also business. They're two contrasts, in fact.
Yeah, corporate environment. I will need that to learn, to train, to learn the setup and the nitty-gritty of things, and then from there move on to being independent, setting up my own business.
And the business will depend on the need.
Yeah, the business will depend on the need, on the demand of where I am, and I think that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things I know is that you studied engineering, was that?
Yes,
right?
I did. Yes.
Okay. Would that be something in that area as well, or would you even say, okay, I studied this, but because there's a different demand, I would change my route in that sense?
Yes, I will be flexible. I will be flexible to do either that or any other thing. It won't matter to me because I am an engineer,
Yeah.
and though I never worked as an engineer, but I believe a big part of who I am was shaped when I was in the university, when I was studying, when I was doing all those drawings, when I was cramming all those formulas, and my specialty was in production engineering. So they really taught us technological process, and that's what I'm using in life, and it has helped me in planning and being able to come up with a process, the process of things from A to Z, starting from the end. And I believe if you get that, you can always project it in all other areas of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think my ability to plan and my ability to reach goals will really help me in any area that I see it's needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's a very universal aspect of life. You can apply it everywhere, not just in any business, at home. And you see it here as well. Very systematic, and with your own birthday, like you said, preparing 3 months ahead of time. Yeah. Wow.
So the skill sets of engineering is transferable, good.
Absolutely.
But you still apply that even in everything that you do. Example, there's been this the birthday preparation for the last 3 months. And
Yeah, because I was challenged when we were in school. Some of the teachers would be teasing us. Actually, in my class, I can't remember the group, but in my class, we had only 2 ladies studying mechanical engineering, me and then one other lady. So most of the guys in my class were men, of course, because a lot of women are afraid of engineering. And we were always teased by some teachers and even by some men, by some boys then, that our education will not go far, it will end in the kitchen, we will get married, just be like housewife. And I was challenged and I made up my mind that no, that will not happen to me. And even if I would not work in a factory or any other way, actually engineering has changed. I got my degree in 1998. Yeah, so that's about 20 years. Yeah, actually. I think I got it on my birthday. Yeah, exactly. I think exactly 20 years. Yeah. So a lot has changed in engineering. It has become more digital. A lot of opportunity has come in now. But still, I was determined that my years in the university would not be wasted, and I was always thinking of how to apply it to life, to everything I do.
Wow, very conscious human being you are. Like very, most of those things that you say, I think many women experience things like that, especially when they go into a field that is dominated by men. But you had that determination to use it and still take on your role as a family woman, but you still use that skill, you're still determined. Because the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of us is either we go to the extreme and say, right, I'm just going to stick to the engineering, I'm going to go to the top to prove to the people, and then forget the family, the other aspect of us, just to prove that. But if you didn't even say that to us, tell us that, we wouldn't have known. So thank you so much for sharing that story with us. I think it would inspire a lot of women out there as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. So number 4, is there anything you always wanted, and did you get it?
I'm not sure I understand that question very well.
Okay.
I think it's too, not concrete enough.
Okay, I think it's broad. Yes. So is there anything in life, especially, so let's say life, that you've always wanted, and did you get that thing in life? You know, or maybe it's something you're still working towards. I don't know.
Well, still, I'm not sure I got the question, but I will try and answer it this way. At the moment, I'm a satisfied human being. I'm content with where I am, with what I have, with what I do. I'm happy. I'm not struggling, to wake up in the morning. I'm not struggling to do all the things I need to do. But still, I know that it is not good to not have goals and not move forward. So my principle is this: I'm happy with where I am, but I still move forward to see how far I can go in life before I die. So on one part, I can say there is nothing I want, in the sense that I think I've been entrusted with a lot of things. Yeah. Well, on the other hand, I mean, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. I can, want more members in the church. I can want to raise more leaders. I can, want to have more social projects. So I just take one day at a time, add one goal to the existing goal. It's like stretching myself reasonably. Yeah, that is how I would answer that question. But as of the moment, there is nothing urgent, there is nothing pressing that I would say I want. I think I have everything I need for now.
Okay. So would that also answer the question of something specific that you want to attain in life? Because many people live for something and they say, I have this dream and maybe I want to become this person, or I want to have traveled all over the world, or I have to leave some sort of legacy. So is there like a legacy that you say, when I leave this earth, this is what I want to have done, or this is what I want to be known for specifically?
I think I've done that. I leave legacy every time. Being a pastor, being able to touch life, and being able to open their eyes to see how life could be lived in a better way. So my understanding is that you don't leave a legacy after death. You leave a legacy daily as you live, by touching people's life. So one thing I like is being able to see change lives while I'm here. While I'm here, of course, it's very possible that more people will be motivated to do something after I'm gone, because there is a role loss. It has a role in our life. Death, it's also a kind of energy. When somebody you love or when somebody you admire dies, you want to leave a memory. So we see that a lot when celebrities die. die, then their records are sold more because it's just a way of converting the loss somewhere.
Yeah.
So that is there. But I think being a living monument is better, and that's the path I've chosen. To touch life daily, to leave my legacy daily. If to talk about dreams like traveling the world, or there is something special I would like to do before I die. The only special thing I would like to do is to help people to know the purpose of life, to help people, and to me that is like knowing Christ. That would be the ultimate, influencing them, challenging them with my lifestyle, challenging them with my philosophy, and hopefully I will get a chance to lead them to Christ. That is my dream now. I've traveled the world to some extent, and that doesn't satisfy. I think, in my opinion, what satisfies is seeing a changed life. Yeah, and just being content with what you have. And so I would like to go here, I would like to do that. I mean, I would like to, but it's not a present dream. I'm okay with not doing it because I wasn't born to travel the whole world. And if I need to travel the whole world, I need to pick for a purpose. And recently I had a reflection on what people desire in life. Travel the whole world, do some other things, live in a big house, have this and that. And one thing, the conclusion of my reflection is this: that those things on the long run, they do not satisfy. Yeah. So if you don't have a bigger purpose inside those dreams, you will travel the whole world and you will still be depressed. You will travel the whole world and you will still not be fulfilled. Yeah. And you will be ignoring the things you have. Just like some celebrities later end committing suicide. Yeah. Because they have a lot of things many people are dreaming of. Yeah. So I'm happy with what I have. I seize opportunity as they come. But my primary goal is changing a life at a time, where I am planted.
Wow.
Wow.
Very balanced and content human being.
It's so fascinating because you sound so accomplished in life and you're only 45. It's like many people who are older than you would dream of being able to say these things, and even people who are younger, because most people who are younger don't even know what they want to do in life in the first place or what the meaning of life is. And I see this as somehow a culmination of you being so systematic and so conscious about working in life, and that at the point where you're 45 you can say, this is how I actually converted the time of 45 years and have done so much that I don't have to, there's nothing more left for me to do that is so pressing in my heart, because you're so fulfilled and you have converted your time successfully.
Yes, and because I live my days fully. I You know, I would like to know that. And I think apart from that, I would also like to ask him why sometimes there are some injustice in the world. We have a lot of pain, we have a lot of injustice, and some countries are doing better than the other. For example, I'm from Nigeria, and Nigeria is very blessed with natural resources, and for years we just can't get it to work. You know, the center can just not hold. So I would like to ask him why. Why is it? Why is it that, I mean, a lot of things depend on where you are born, you know, and it's just interesting. I have an understanding to some extent, but it would be good to have a deep understanding if it will still be relevant.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. These were 2 questions, if I counted correctly.
Yeah, the first one is why he allowed something to happen to me. The second thing will be why there's just injustice, imbalance in the world. And the third thing will be...
Or maybe not a question necessarily, but maybe a request or...
If just to say something, I think the third one would just be thanking God. I made it to heaven.
Yeah. I can imagine, yes. Wow. I guess we all want to be very happy about that.
Yeah, because there's just a lot of things, you know, who will be saved, heaven, hell, you know. So when eventually you get there, I think that would be the first thing. Hallelujah.
Yeah, that's true. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. This is quite interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I like those answers. I like the questions. It's really a big question, I think, of many people's, or these questions are big questions in many people's minds, because the other side of religion also tells us not to ask, and, you know, to be always obedient, don't question anything, and just do what you have to do. And imagining the fact that we have the freedom to actually ask God those questions, it's very peace-giving. And it's good that you also are conscious about this. And I think it will also help people to, you know, maybe embrace that thought process and not just religiously kind of think, oh no, I'm just going to be happy, you know, because we all have some desires, we all have questions in our minds, and it's totally fine to ask that.
Yeah, but it happens in stages. At least that was how it happened to me. I was always asking the questions, why, since I was a teenager. You know, since I was a teenager, I was always asking the question. Then, with spiritual growth, then you find out that nothing can happen to you without God's permission. You know, I mean, that's just a premise. That's a truth. Nothing, so when you know that nothing can happen to you without God's permission, so the question will not be the rude why, you know, but it will be, okay, what are you trying to teach me? Is it something I need to adjust? Things like that. But I think it comes in stages. First, you are furious at God, you are angry at God. Why me? Why not my neighbor? You know? Then, or why not a worse person? Yeah. Why not a worse person? I recently, last year, I lost one of my leaders in the church, a very wonderful guy. And I also have other people in the church struggling with dependency on other things. I mean, and the thought came to mind that God, why didn't you take the guy that is already tired of life, you know, or why would you take a person, a sick person, I mean, a terminally healed, sick, suffering person in pain, but then it took somebody to me that looks, I mean, at the brim of his life. So, I mean, those are questions that, they are questions, but on the other hand, you know that God has a plan for everybody, and those are those falls into the sovereignty of God. He decides, you know, it's not for you to teach him who to take or who not to take. He is God and he does whatever he wants to do, but we know that he does the best for us and he does the best for the kingdom. So this is why we are man and he is God. And of course those things, it helps us to humble, to be a better person, and to to know that we're merely human, and He's in charge of everything. Yeah. So it's good to ask questions, but not the rule kind of questions. And it's good to ask questions to become a better person. I've been able to become a better person because I ask questions. I ask myself questions, and I ask other people questions.
Wow. So living by the Bible that says seek understanding in all you do, and all you're getting, get understanding. Yeah, that's interesting. Wow.
It is very interesting. This is a question that actually follow up nicely to the next question that I have. But from this last question that you answered, I see really a heart of gratitude, and also a heart of a daughter-father relationship with God. And that has grown. And also the fact that you even said and gave these 2 examples of what happens, why did God choose certain people and why some people had to go. It's not even what I personally, or maybe other people out there would even expect, because a lot of us have that question. And we think, okay, Pastor Bose is very balanced, have very scriptural understanding. So it's really great that you shared that with us, especially that example. Because every time when they ask that question, why this person died, even though we know we are going to heaven, but that's a question that we still ask. And for you to also be one of those people that ask that question, it's just, that father-daughter relationship are very human. Thank you. I think
and they bring back to us the reality of life. And the reality is this: we are not here to stay. And just like the parable of the talents in the Bible, God gave one person 1 talent, the other person 2 talents, and the third person 5 talents. So God decides who is given 30 years to, who is given 50 years to. And I think when people close to us leave so soon, by our description, they leave so soon, I think the lesson they're trying to tell us is that anybody can leave at any time. And that's a fact we have to be ready for. Like from most culture, we take it for granted that everybody should live till 70, till 80, but people die at different age. So it's a reminder. And why will God remind us? God will remind us for us to change, to tighten things up, and not to think, I'm still young, I have time to make amendment. But the truth is that you don't have time. God can take you at any time, especially in the time we are living now. It can happen at any time. So in order not to live in regret, the death of any close person or of anybody that we know should remind us that we could be the next. So if there's any person to forgive now, today is the time to forgive the person. If you want to give something to somebody, today is the time to give that thing to the person. If you want to say nice word to somebody, now is the day. If you want to love your children, if you want to tell them something, if you want to show them something, today is the time. Because we do not have the next minute. We believe we will have it. But we may not have it. So death is just a reminder, and we need it. We need it for our sanity, because if nobody is dying, the world will be a worse place than it is.
Good insights. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So this question, it's one I'm really keen about. It says, we understand that you had a very special relationship with your dad. Many girls cannot say that about themselves or their relationship with their dad. Could you tell us more about that and how it's come about?
Okay, I think that happened because my mom, I had a difficult time with my mother. My mom, I'm trying to find a word to describe her. In short, I had a very difficult teenage years with my mom. I was rebellious, and I didn't like some of the things she was doing. And I think I drew more to my dad's side because my dad would not shout on me. He just needed to say something, and I'll do it. And but my mom, I think she's the kind that she will repeat things, and each time she repeats those things, they irritate me. And even if I was going to do what she wanted me to do, just by repeating it, I won't want to do it. Yeah. So I think because my dad was more matured. Yeah. Because my dad was close to 42 years old when he had me. So when I was growing up, it should be about 48, 50. So he had more understanding of life and more understanding of relationship. That is what I would say. So because I'm saying this as a child, because sometimes children, they're still not in their full consciousness, but they will always draw towards a person that loves them, that understands them, that doesn't scold them unnecessarily. So I would think that was the first thing that made me to love my dad. And even when I grew up, he's just a mature man. I think that would be the best answer. He's a mature man. My dad grew up in a family of 8 children, and they also grew up in an extended family. My granddad family wasn't polygamous, but uncles, great aunts, great uncles, and they lived together. And then my dad, my paternal grandparents, they died quite early. So my dad was forced to take responsibility for his siblings. My dad is number 2. So he still had 6 younger siblings to take care of. And when you have such responsibility, they also helps you to mature. Yeah. And it trained them, it helped them before he got married. He got married close to his 40. So I think a normal person at 40 should be matured enough. And by the time I was going to my teenage years, he was already 50-something. So I think that would be the reason that would have drawn me to him. Because I also see that in my life now. That some people are drawn to me just because I understand them.
Okay, older dads best. Older dads are the best. Wow. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting an answer like that, but it's a really, really true answer of what it is. It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I actually also grew up with a missing part of a parent. And I know what you're talking about when you say that, at an early age you have to take responsibility, and it really molds you, and it changes your perspective of looking at life, looking at people. And I find it interesting that you were drawn to him, because usually women are, for me, I know my friends who are usually drawn to their mothers, because you can relate. You're females, and there are things that only a female understands. And so that's quite interesting, especially also because from my experience, I see that you and Paris, for example, you're very close, and just the twist of circumstance or relationships, I can say, yeah.
It's really interesting. I mean, when Julie just mentioned this now, I remember with me, I'm the youngest, and my siblings are always telling me how I'm having life so easy because our parents are not as strict on me as they were on them. So, yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you for the answer. Okay, the next one is, you are a very healthy person, and you have a very healthy lifestyle. We can also see your shape at 45 and having 3 children. You don't look 45, definitely.
Absolutely. Way younger. And
yeah. So we were just wondering, how were you able to maintain that shape? And also, is it difficult? Is it something that you just do because you got used to it and you trained yourself to it so much? Or are there moments where you're thinking, I don't know how your nutrition kind of plan or life is, but if you have such a healthy lifestyle, is it something you deliberately chose to do, and then how do you keep yourself in shape like that?
I would say it's a mixture. My dad is a nutritionist. Yeah, so growing up in my house, he tried his best. He became a nutritionist, I think, around 40, when he was 40. And so growing up in my house, we didn't have sugar. My dad was reading a lot of nutrition books, and there is this kind of bean cake we're making. My part of Nigeria is called moi moi, and normally to make that cuisine, you have to remove the back of the beans. But in my house, we won't do that, because my dad would say the most nutritious part of the beans is that. And we also have different kind of grains, even corn or maize. We have this in my part of Nigeria. We call it ogi, which is palm. And normally people, after doing it, they will like sieve it, to make it smoother. Yeah. But in my house, we won't do that, because that thing you are removing is the most nutritional part of it. And so we weren't happy. And in the morning, our breakfast was a blend of lettuce, tomatoes, garlic, onion, and what is this? Cucumber in a blender. And that's our breakfast. Horrible. So when I was growing up, I thought I'm so unlucky, to be born into such a family. Apart from the fact that it's an average family, not a rich family, quite a struggling family, but not really the poorest, because we still we ate three times a day. But we were on a budget. So I thought that was something unfortunate in my life. So of course, from time to time, you will steal some things, you will buy ice cream on the road and eat it before you get home. And another good thing my dad was doing is that he always gave us supplements, good supplements. And thank him for that, because relatively we weren't sick, we were healthy children, but we didn't understand, and that is how life is, When a more mature person is dealing with a less mature person, then that less mature person will be cursing the more mature person. So that was it. At 10 or 11, I left my parents to go and live with my uncle, Professor Wale Amushon. I went to another state. They weren't too strict on nutrition, so I love that. And but from time to time, my dad would still be giving us supplements. Then when I came to the Soviet Union, I also wasn't. It was a free life. My first year was a free life in the Soviet Union, so I was eating anything I wanted to eat, and that was actually how it was until I got to Ukraine. When I got to Ukraine, and I started noticing some women in our church who are health conscious, and talking to them, I noticed that they don't eat anything. They are conscious. I started to know that some foods are more nutritious than others. I started studying for myself women's health, because a woman's health is different from men's health, because our bodies are different, and what we require is different. And then when I was still trying to learn, but I became very serious when I had Zoe, and that was like almost 18 years ago. Somebody gave me a book, on health, on food. So since then, I became a learner, a student, and health student. And I started remembering, and I started appreciating what my dad was doing when we were young. And I think what I have today, the health I have today, I should dedicate it to my dad. To God, of course, everything goes to God,
Yeah.
but to Dad, because now I started remembering all the things he was doing. I started trying to do that. So now it's a conscious choice for me, to do that. And why lose your health when you can keep it?
Mm-hmm.
And having our health is a form of extending our life. I mean, if God's permit,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a good life. Mm-hmm. So it's a conscious decision for me now.
Wow, nice. And I would say thank you to your dad for doing that.
Now thank you.
Yes.
Before I thought I was the most unfortunate person. I was living in the worst family on this.
Yeah. It's quite unusual though to have this type of breakfast.
Yeah. And you won't believe it when because the power electricity wasn't steady. So if there was no power, I don't know how I can say it, but there's this way, I don't even know what they call it. Yeah, it's something like from stone.
A roller.
Yeah, but a smooth stone roller, so it will roll the lettuce, the cucumber. I mean, it's now I understand the sacrifice he was doing just to keep us healthy. Yeah. And those things really formed the base of my health because I'm really healthy.
Wow.
I'm able to maintain it now. I'm able to support it. I've been supporting it for almost 18 years, but really the foundation my dad built was good.
Wow. Wow. This is so impressive. So you don't have like these moments, or maybe you do, where you're thinking, now I like, yes, or a chocolate cake or something like that.
I eat everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I eat everything. Some things I don't buy. For example, okay, maybe now that I have birthdays, I can buy cake. But normally in my shopping list, most of the things are healthy. But there's a lot of celebration around me, birthdays over there, so I get my sugar, I get all the extra stuff there. Yeah. And anytime I feel like, spoiling myself in a reasonable way, I do it. One time I read a book, it's called Hallelujah Diet, written by Christians. And there in that book I saw that if you're able to maintain a healthy diet of 70%, you will still be good. You will still be good. And I eat everything. I eat moderate size, enough for my body to process and to feel good about it. Yeah.
Okay. So very balanced.
Yeah. Of course, I eat more of the healthy things, but whenever I crave for something, I'm free to do it because I've made enough sacrifice, and so it will balance itself.
Yeah, the 70% constant, so.
Yeah, sometimes I have 80, 90, so I'm allowed to spoil myself anytime I want.
Definitely. Wow, cool. Thank you.
Interesting. Okay, there's a question before the one that I'm going to ask, but I think it's better to have it this way around.
Okay.
So many times we hear that being single is more important than being a wife, or in a relationship. Goes for both male and female. So it could be being single is more important than being a husband as well. What is your take on that?
Being single in the sense of not married, right?
Yes.
Not being married. I wouldn't say that. What I would say is keeping your individuality is more important than being married. So I won't say being single is more important than being married, or being married is more important than being single. No, I wouldn't say that. It's what you do with yourself while you are single, and it's what you do with yourself while you are married. Of course, you have more challenges in marriage because as a single person, you are the master of your life. We're not talking about God. God is always there. But in marriage, you have a lot of things to consider. Your partner, and a lot of other things. So hopefully your partner will also have a good thinking style, a freedom thinking style that will allow you to keep your individuality. So my understanding of that question would be keeping your individuality, being yourself, not losing yourself. Of course, in a marriage, you can't be yourself 100%. You know, it's impossible. Yeah, but it's important for the marriage to provide room for you to be yourself. For one person not to lording it over the other person, and to respect the uniqueness in everybody and to make room for that. That would be my understanding of that question.
Yeah, I think it's...
Otherwise, just a status of single, they're almost the same. If you don't know what you're doing, it's the same.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
I think that one is worth recapping. So for everyone out there, so there is no pros or cons that is not in one or not the other. So in a nutshell, both marriage and single, if it's purposeful, it is good, and maintaining your individualism. You know, who you are as a person. So if you're married and you maintain who you are as a person and you face your purpose, it's good. And if you're single as well and you know what you're doing, it's also good. I think that's an amazing answer, because there's always like a toggle between like married people and then single people. And
because you can't be, it's not that you cannot, but the probability of you being married all the time is shaky. You know, you can get married and then become a widow. So would that mean now you have to start another race of finding another man? It's possible if it comes on. But that shouldn't be now your goal. You should always be married, because marriage is more valued and married women are more respected. I mean, thinking that way can lead you into a lot of problems. So that's why I say to myself, you can't be married forever, because marriage is not something that depends on you. Your spouse can die, your spouse can leave you, divorce is a reality, anything can happen. So then what happened? You have to start another race, you know, you have to start another project or finding another man. And it's difficult to find a normal person, talk less of a normal person to get married to if you want a good marriage. Yeah. So I think we have to change something about thinking that being married and being a married woman is more valuable than being a single. Of course, married women, they have they bear a huge responsibility because under normal condition, children are supposed to be born in a marriage, right? And married women, they have special responsibility to their husband. You know, they deserve to be honored for that. But in the sense that you must get married so that you'll be respected, or because of people's opinion, it doesn't work it. It doesn't work it.
Yeah, so the motive is always very important.
Yes,
why we do what we do.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with that.
absolutely.
Coming from the West and, you know, working with, I personally, not with a lot of people who would believe in God or, you know, have any outstanding moral values. It's basically the total opposite, you know, of what they say and what we hear in the world, where people are thinking, you know, there's either the very religious type of people who are saying, yeah, get married because of status, and then there are people who are saying, I don't need all of that, and, you know, it's all wrong or somehow brainwashed, and, you know, there's like,
there's no balance.
Yes, there's no balance, and especially young girls are facing that because, you know, we have all the celebrities, both, it doesn't matter where they come from, but all of them have certain lifestyles, and that reflects down on the society, and then, you know, we adopt that, and, you know, many things are just going wrong because we don't have that concept of why do we do what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
I think it would also help a lot of African, especially women. I think the pressure is on men too. I wouldn't put it, you know, aside that they don't have that pressure, but women as well, most importantly, they believe that I even had an interview recently of a celebrity in Nigeria saying that a woman is nothing unless she's married, and that's a belief that she's had from childhood, and she's sharing it, and other women as well. I think churches are full because of single girls that wants to get married. So yes, it's really good.
And it's a very vulnerable position to be in life, because if you're desperate to get married, and if you think marriage is tied to your destiny, then you can get abused because you want it, and since you want it, people can do anything they want with you. So balance is very important.
That's true. Great. So speaking of being a wife and having children, and then for you personally, you're also a pastor, and you have your academic education and all of that combined. The next question basically is, how was it to put all of that together and still walk up with your head held high and not overwhelmed and not just thinking, oh my God, I want to abandon one of those things? Is it I understand personally, because most of what you're saying is because of your strength that you find in God and your understanding of God, and then therefore your understanding of life. Is it something where you would say, this is it, this is for me, and this is where I'm fulfilled? Or how do you see that combination?
Are you talking about how do I cope, how do I balance different roles?
Yes.
Okay. I get asked this question often, and one thing I say is those things, they didn't come to me at once. They came gradually. So I was able to stretch myself. I was gradually entering into my role. If you talk about a wife, we didn't start having children immediately, so that gave room to live together, to understand how we're going to live, to plan for the children. And when we started having children also, we had nannies, because raising children without nannies, especially for me, because I'm alone here, if you talk about relatives. Now I have lots of Russians who are like my family. So we planned, having help, having nannies, so that I won't be overwhelmed with those things. And I didn't go into semi full-time ministry until I had all my children. I was always in the ministry, maybe singing, maybe doing something, but not the one in charge. So these things coming gradually, I being well planted in one, then just taking one more and gradually, extending myself into it, they made it easy for me. Second is I decided, to have a happy life, to have a happy ministry. If I'm doing it, to do it all my heart and to be happy with it, not to fake it. And so I trained myself mentally to cope with all the things life is entrusting me with. And the other thing that helps me is time management, good planning, teamwork, all those things help me to cope with all the things that I need to cope with.
Wow, that's so important. I think what you said personally stood out for me was planting yourself first of all in one area, being comfortable in it, and then moving on. I think most people don't have the patience even to do that, and to say, let me outgrow this place almost before I go to the next. And that's why most people are so overwhelmed.
That's true.
Interesting. Wow, I think this is something we all can take on board, no matter what we do in life. Really take the time, to ground yourself and be happy with that stage, and then looking at what comes next.
I think what I hear that was brilliant is that you don't fake it. So, because there's pressure to do that as well. You're a mother, you're married to a pastor, so you have to be a pastor, and then you are, this person as well, you have to be this. And you saying that you don't fake it, so you develop strongly in one and then transition to the next as needed. Very good.
And do you have any in that particular aspect, I think, just speaking from a female point of view, we just have that tendency of not having the self-esteem, to do that and to be satisfied and patient, doing one thing at a time, and then grounding ourselves. Like, what is it that helped you to do this? Is it just your conscious decision, or is there anything particular that you used?
For me, it unfolded gradually. For example, I got married at 21, and so the years were working for me. I had enough years to get comfortable in one. And I gave birth to my last child 15 years ago. Yeah, so because all those things were coming into my life gradually, so the years are working for me. The years are strengthening me. So I started early. I got married early. I started having children at 25. I stopped at 30 or 31, or, things like that. So, because these things were coming into my life gradually, so I was able to accommodate them.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's an important factor, definitely. Time.
Yeah. Time is great.
Yeah, actually time, speaking of time, we don't have so much time left.
Yes, we've got a few questions. I'll combine the two questions here.
Okay.
So, it says, we know that this genius is made, not born. But obviously, we are all born, but geniuses are made. There are a few characteristics or traits that we've seen in you: gentleness, kindness. You're also strong. You're not a walkover. Determined, meticulous, very detailed person, creative. All of those things. So we just want to know: is this something that you were born with, as in, this is how you were? You've always been this type of child that is like this, or is it something that you have to create in yourself?
I discovered myself. Being brought up in Africa, generally female are supposed to be quiet, they're supposed to be timid. So I had that. I was not confident when I was growing up in my teenage years. But then when I started, working on myself, I had to really find out who I am, my traits. So I took some tests to really know, my temperament and things like that. I read a lot of books on women, the traits, the characters in women, and I studied myself. Then I started, cultivating the things that I think I need. So not throwing the cautious part of the African in me. So I'm made of two cultures, and I have the African part in me. I have the European part in me. So most of the traits I have in myself now, I developed them. I wanted them. I had a picture of myself, myself that I love, myself that I like. So I trained myself, and here I am.
Cool. There we go. Geniuses are made, confirmed.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, I like that you said that, because studying yourself is so important, and we don't take the time to actually do that. Most of the time we study other people, or we don't study, at all. Yeah, so we kind of walk around in life just not knowing and assuming, but taking the time to also do those tests. And I think for Christians in particular, and also those who are so religious, it's fine to make that investigation, to make personality tests, or understanding what does something that I do say about myself, and then questioning, reading books about that. And I think this will help then to take the right decisions based on who we are, especially when it comes to picking a partner, for example. Cool. Nice. Is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, I'll take this question here. Okay. Pastor Sunday fondly calls you Princess, and we're wondering if you also have a nickname for him, and then what do you think of nicknames in general?
think nicknames are they are good. They're gentle. They're in some sense romantic if it's in a romantic relationship. So they're okay. I don't have a nickname for him, and I think I was calling him Sunday before, and even when I think it was because he was more interested in me than I was interested in him. Yeah, and I was a little bit like protective of myself when we started the relationship. And I also think maybe that was because of who I was that time. If I would be the person I am now, maybe I would have a nickname for him. So I was calling him Sunday. The church was calling him Sunday. Then one time we had a conversation, and I asked him, is it okay with him if I start calling him Pastor? Yeah. Because I asked him, if you want a nickname, I can call you one. But I just didn't feel, I just didn't feel all this darling, all this honey. I didn't want to be forced, you know. It's like you get married and you start calling the person some names. So I just wanted to be myself. So we discussed it. I told him, well, if you want, I can call you something. Yeah, but I said, if you don't mind, I will call you Pastor, and we agreed on that. And to him, me calling him Pastor is romantic. It's okay, wow. and we are doing well. Yeah.
Wow, that's so funny. It is so funny. It's also liberating, to be honest, because
everybody says this darling, all this honey, all this. I mean, it just didn't come from me, and I didn't want to fake it. You know, so.
That's so good, really. This is really good because I think so many people are under such pressure as well. I mean, there's so many type of pressures, but if you're like a girl who's thinking about marriage and all these things, this will probably be a question on your mind as well. And then wondering, how do you call a person? I grew up with also in a big family, and my sister had two significant relationships. One of my older sister, and she would have a different nickname for each person. So one thing I would also wonder is, how do you even determine that? Like, it's almost, I don't know, how do you say it? It's like you have to have a nickname because you're in a relationship and this person is like this, so find something that suits them. But what about you? Do you have to conform to this relationship nickname kind of? And I think, I don't know anybody who doesn't have a nickname for their partner. Unless, maybe when it comes to African relationships, probably. They call each other by first name or what, but...
or daddy.
Yeah, that's true, daddy.
But I think for Pastor, that is my husband, I think it worked well because he having a nickname for me because he wanted to make sure that he treats his wife with dignity. He wanted to make sure that he pleases God with the way he relates to me. So that was his choice, and he said that he calling me Christian reminds him that I'm a person of worth, I'm God's daughter, and that he has to be careful with the way he treats me. So for him it worked well, but honestly, I thought of what to call him. I just couldn't find something that I really liked. And I didn't want to go by all this harmony, darling. It just didn't, I didn't feel. And I married a free person. He gave me my freedom, and we're okay.
Nice. It's so good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So interesting.
I know we're running out of time fast.
Yeah.
We have 3 questions. Is it okay to go ahead with the 3 questions?
That's fine.
quickly? Okay, thank you. So this one is another question about what Pastor has shared with us before. So he said, Pastor called you the image of balance, like you're a very balanced person. And I think throughout this whole session, we can see that. You mentioned not faking it. People that balance, they don't fake things. So a couple of times. So we can see that as well. Could you comment on that and tell us what you think about that word about you being balanced?
Yeah, and I think I should commend Pastor, my husband, for he helped me. Maybe I don't know if he knows or not. He helped me to be balanced because we're 2 different personality, and at the beginning of the marriage, he tried to please me, but it's different from me, and you know, when I saw what I would call is extremism, you know, I mean that just left me with words, and I know that, you know, I have to do something, you know, in this relationship if it will work. So, you know, just saying, of course I know that is who he is, you know, after sometimes, you know, because as like a standard measure, I also tried to change him, and I thought he could change in some things, but then later I found out that some things are just natural for him, you know. That is who he is. That's how God made him, maybe to do some things. So but living with a person like that, with an hyperactive personality, really helped me to be balanced, you know, and because first we need that balance in our relationship, you know, otherwise we'll be fighting all the time, or I will get frustrated, and you know, we won't be together by now. Yeah, so he helped me to dig out the balance in me. Then having my children also helped me, because, you know, each of my children is like, you know, another kind of marriage, in the sense that it's another project, and you know, so training my children, bringing them up, then getting them through their adolescent age. 2 of them is about to get through that. Also helped me to balance, and balance also means changing yourself. Balance also means trying to see things from the other person's side, and trying to find an equilibrium for that. And so and being a wife and being a mother in the house, a lot of things are centered around me. I have to be the balance, you know, because I have to deal with 4 different peoples, and I have to deal with people helping me in the house, and I think just those responsibilities, and having Pastor who is hyper around me has really helped me to value the importance of being balanced as a woman, you know, and so I will give him the honor for that, you know.
Very good.
Wow.
Interesting. I wonder if he knows, but he will know today. You know.
True.
Thank you. Good answer. Thank you.
Okay. The next question we have is, what are your plans for the next 45 years? Assuming that you're going to, you know, be there for 45 next years, maybe more, maybe less, whatever God decides. But what are your plans going forward for the next few decades?
I think there's still the same plan I have. If I'm here or wherever I have plans of planting more churches. Kiev and Kiev vicinities, I think we need more churches. You know. I don't see them as big churches, yeah, but fellowship center, so that, I mean, everybody will be able to reach a center of fellowship, and maybe more fellowship. I would like to I'm still contemplating either having my own or just partnering with some people. But I would like to have some social homes for women, women dealing with violence, women dealing with unwanted pregnancy or unwanted children. So my plans there in that line of social work, you know, helping people, getting a house, getting staff, just dealing with the social ills that are in the society. That would be the things I would like to dedicate the second half of my life to.
Okay. Wow. This is interesting. Going to the last question, it's about Nigerian transformation projects. So we just want to know what your thoughts are on that, given that, you know, that's big on Pastor Sunday's agenda. So what's your thoughts, Pastor Bose, on the Nigerian transformation project?
Well, I think I would have, I would say it's a big project that seems impossible. And even the fact that Pastor can't even leave Ukraine now makes me not to think much about the project now. I think if God allows it, then there will be a room for it. And I would love it to come to pass, either by my husband or by other people or by the people who has raised, because of the truth, Nigeria really needs transformation. I mean, it's just a mystery about the things that are happening. I would rather be reserved about commenting about that, but the only thing I would say is I'm from Nigeria and I'm indebted to Nigeria, regardless of the fact that my conscious years are spent here, and if I die, I will probably be buried here, right? But I will support the project in every form that is possible. But I'm just not thinking too much about it now because of some restrictions we still have.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you for sharing that. I think many people are also just curious to know, because Pastor Sunday speaks about that all the time, and he's dedicated all his programs on the Nigerian Transformation Project and asking people, you know, to sign up if they want to join. So it's good to have your perspective as well as the partner, his partner in life, and people are also wondering what would you do, because all of that is centered around him. So that's good to know as well. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Pastor Bose.
Yes,
it's been a pleasure.
It has. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you all for joining us as well. I think this was so insightful for not just us, but also you guys.
Yes.
It's so good to know more about you. I mean, we live here in this house and we have more insight, let's say, than those who are watching us. And so I think many questions have been responded to and many curiosities have been satisfied. And so you guys know who Pastor Bose Adelaja is maybe better now. And I think it's so good also to know that, you know, you are just your own person and everything you do is based on your own decisions and who you have become to be. Yes. So everyone else who knows, you know, who can see what Pastor Bose is doing or not doing, she's, you know, living her own life, and she has chosen her life, and she's satisfied with it, and, you know, she's walking according to her purpose. So I think that's something we all can take. One of the many things you can take from that session, and
I think Pastor Bose should have the last words in this program. Just share without us having to question you at all.
Yeah, today's my birthday. Like I said, I've written 48 life lessons, and those are part of the legacy I'm going to live. That I'm living. You know, you live a legacy while you're alive. So I wish you well. I pray that what I do and what you get to know that I do will be a blessing to you. And my aim is to inspire more women to be their best, to get delivered from the different myths that we believe. I'm blessed, I'm happy when I see women liberated. Of course, I also know that the men needs to be liberated. So God has given us this life to influence. We just have to start from where we are, and not too concentrated on ourselves, and just looking for ways how we can help people with what we have. I want to thank all the people that have been rejoicing with me on my birthday, all the comments, all the good wishes. Thank you so much. I absorb them, I assimilate them, I receive the good wishes, and I want to believe that together we will be able to make our world a better place. There where you are planted, I'm trying my best, I'm doing my best here where I found myself. So wherever you find yourself, just do good to as many people as possible. Just do your best, and as you do your best, God will take you to places, God will surprise you. So I love you with the love of God, and I wish you well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That.
Brilliant.
Thank you all for joining.
Thank you guys. See you soon.